JJ Abrams, JJ, how's it going? I've heard that Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, won't be beholden to the past. Can I ask you something? Then why is Emperor Palpatine in it? Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here, and you are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, because basically Disney and Lucasfilm have decided to give exclusive marketing rights, it looks like, to Vanity Fair. There was a big spread, posters, interviews. Before we talk about all of that, let's look at this behind-the-scenes little reel that they were kind enough to let us watch.
The third of this trilogy, the ninth in these 9 films, Dan Magley was come and document the work that's being done. It's a gift.
Annie has been a part of this saga for almost 40 years. She's sharing in the culmination of this with all of us. It's an incredible honor to have her step in and capture this moment.
It feels like a proper journey. We were in the desert for the first one, and then I heard for the last one. I feel very nostalgic at many points that this is sort of, as everyone says, you don't get experiences like this very often.
It's been this incredible journey.
I'm gonna miss it so much. Me, Daisy, and Oscar. It's like a moment in all of our lives, really. This is truly big. It's a blessing and an honor.
Right, I think that's it. Let's get rid of this and we can talk.
Hi, my name is Lev Grossman.
So. The big Vanity Fair spread, as you can see it there, posters, awesome posters actually, great interviews, JJ Abrams saying a lot. And I think what's piqued most people's attention is that he actually said he didn't want to be beholden to the past so much. And as the gag I did at the beginning is, how can you say that and bring back Emperor Palpatine back? So it is an interesting school of thought. Look, this film kind of intrigues me a bit because it comes after The Force Awakens, which was a record-breaking box office around the world. But a lot of Star Wars fans said, what are you doing? You're just giving us a new hope. But the reason they gave you a new hope, because so many fans were so passive-aggressive about what George Lucas did with the prequels, they thought, let's just give them something familiar. And that's why they did The Force Awakens. So people criticising that, you can't have it both ways. You hated the prequels, you hated The Force Awakens, you said while you watched the prequels, where's your Han Solo, where's this? They tried to do that and you're not happy. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the paralysing The Last Jedi, of course, which split the fandom. Some people think it's amazing. Some people like me think it's bland and boring and that's it. I have nothing else to say about the film. It bored me to tears. It's as simple as that. And when it finished, it just took all the excitement and love I've ever had for Star Wars. It literally is like dating the most boring female you could ever date and then just being put off sex and relationships for the rest of your life. That's what The Last Jedi actually did. And then before that, we had Rogue One, which was a good, okay film. It made a lot of money. I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't as good, in my opinion, as everyone else said it was. Then we had Solo, which was a financial flop. Again, it was okay. But do you remember when we used to have great Star Wars films instead of okay Star Wars films? Now, I suppose you could call The Phantom Menace okay. You can call whatever the second prequel is, Attack of the Clones, okay. I quite enjoyed it, Attack of the Clones, actually. I think it's a lot better than okay, and I think Revenge of the Sith is one of my favourite Star Wars films, so there. But when we get to Star Wars Disney, it becomes the kind of thing where it becomes May. It's kind of, that was okay, that wasn't okay, that was okay. Well, Solo was a flop, it was okay, but, you know, who asked for Han Solo without Harrison Ford? I certainly didn't. You certainly didn't. And so J.J. Abrams now finds himself making a film he never wanted to make. And he's said some pretty funny things in the past few weeks. He's talked about this trilogy being all planned out from the beginning. Well, we of course know that is not true. It looks to me that JJ wanted to sow some seeds, which he kind of assumed without knowing that Rian Johnson, whoever directed the second movie, The Last Jedi, would actually implement. But something went wrong in communication because Rian came in and did exactly whatever he wanted, and no one kind of said, calm down, Rian, this is a trilogy. I think Kathleen Kennedy's and Lucasfilm's whole idea was, right, let's have these characters, let's introduce them, but let's pretty much just have the first two, like do the first two movies, the second one can be standalone, and then Rey can just kind of kill whoever she has to kill in the third film. Kylo Ren, obviously, and Snoke, but Snoke's either there or he's not there. We don't know. We saw him get killed, but that might have not been Snoke. We really don't know. So when you look at these two films, anyway, they kind of look unrelated to each other. The characters are there. They kind of mention things that have happened, but it really is a standalone episode of your favourite TV series, if you like. And I think this is one of the kind of problems with it. So when you get to the trilogy, because the controversy was huge, and there was a huge controversy, and Star Wars just doesn't excite people, thanks to The Last Jedi, as much as it used to, or should do. So now kind of they were going to have the director from the Jurassic World films come in, but then they didn't like what he did, so they got rid of him, which is unfortunate. I would have been interested to see what he was going to... So it's all a bit of a mess, right? I like what they're doing with kind of the Dan and Dave trilogy from Game of Thrones. It's their trilogy. They're going to do all three. Now, we don't know if they're going to direct because they don't have much experience directing, but they did direct the Game of Thrones finale. Maybe that was them trying to prove that they can direct, so they can direct this trilogy of films. I prefer writers to direct their visions as well, so they can show us what's in their minds, rather than getting somebody else to do it, because then it becomes a bit problematic. That's just my personal opinion, of course. So I hope Dan and Dave actually do direct all three movies as well as writing them. So that's the future. But right now, as I say, J.J. Abrams is making a movie, or has just made a movie, that he never wanted to make. He was just brought in to lead it, to get people interested and excited about Star Wars again. Then he was going to let them get on with it. That's obvious to me. So there's no cohesion. Now, obviously, as I said, he sowed some seeds in The Force Awakens. He kind of thought maybe they would grab those seeds, maybe they wouldn't. So this film, for me, is very interesting. And let me tell you why. Because Chris Terrio is co-writing it. Now, Chris Terrio, of course, co-writ Batman vs. Superman and the original Justice League movie. Basically, the Snyder Cut. And so I really like Batman v Superman. It's okay if you don't. We don't have to argue. We can still be friends. We can even be lovers. But basically, I think I love the way he writes, and I think this was a very, very unique decision by JJ to bring him on board, which means I don't think this Star Wars film is the Star Wars film that any of us imagine, not with Chris involved. I think this could be very unique, very compelling and very brutal. This film could actually make up for the first two. I don't mind The Force Awakens. I think it's passable. I certainly don't think it deserved to break all box office records. But what did deserve and box office ever have a connection? I mean, look at the MCU. But yeah, so I'm actually quite intrigued and excited about this movie. I know nothing about it. I can't claim. I do have a new theory that maybe Luke isn't actually dead and maybe Luke becomes the next Darth Vader. Because I said it before, this franchise needs a proper iconic villain. It means Mark Hamill wouldn't have to do too much filming. He would just do audio work in the future. That would be very interesting to me. Also, what's interesting to me, I know this is the end of the Skywalker saga, but I wonder if Dan and Dave off of Game of Thrones have been there with JJ, conversing with him, trying to find out what he's doing. Now, obviously, if their trilogy is so unrelated to what's been done and it's just set in the future, or maybe it's going to be set in the past, I still think they're going to adapt something because that's their strength. So this is why I'm really excited about what they're doing. But yes, I don't know what's going to happen in this film, but whether you like Batman v Superman or you hate it, Chris Terrio is a very interesting writer. And as I say, I think we're going to get a really dark final episode of this trilogy. Because I think this does need to be a really compelling movie because it is the final part of the Skywalker saga, right? That's really important. It matters. So let me know what you think. What do you think about The Rise of Skywalker? Are you excited? Are you still meh about Star Wars after The Last Jedi? Or are you willing to give J.J. Abrams and the team another chance? Please comment down below. Please like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Who knows what I'm going to do next?